Hey, I thought in this video I would talk about how I was able to reach 1900 using only one strategy. And I mean it. Every single significant gain I had came from this. Um, there were several times during my journey where I thought I had plateaued or the strategy wouldn't work or whatever. Maybe the cheese stopped working. Well, it I was proven wrong every time. And the strategy is actually quite simple. We will click up 18 pop, and we will sneak two ranges into our opponent's space. We'll get fast fletching, and we will make archers. I'll start the replay of the game which actually sealed it for me. Um, this is a strategy you can use with a lot of civs, arguably any civ, especially on tier maps. The reason I use Mongols is that they have the most consistent early game, which helps especially if you have chicken, as I do. Other great civilizations for this would be Ethiopians, Persians, Chinese, a lot of civs. Especially on chicken maps, you would want some kind of an eco bonus, which really helps. But it is possible to do it with a regular civ. However, that will lead to a lot of idle time, even if you have a good Dark Age. And here's the thing. For example here, my opponent is forward to lame me. I almost lose a will. I run out of sheep. I have to chop wood. I lose a lot of scout HP, right? This is not a good Dark Age. And that's, just sometimes going to happen. My opponent was also a Mongol force picker, I believe. And if this happens, you will see the knock-on effects, a bit later. Like this, what happened here was a huge disaster. And the build I use is actually a build I have a video on. It's the build about the best build order in the game, where I start by going 10 on food, and then I send the 4 villagers to wood, and then slightly redistribute depending on what has happened. And you will see how I rebalance my eco to be able to have 2 villages forward, to be able to afford the ranges, and fletching and so on. My opponent ran the scout into my town center, which is always nice. If you do it with the generic civ, then... Which I have done, right? I have done it. There was a period where I played random civ on the ladder, and I would do it with on chicken maps, even if my civ didn't have any eco bonus. And then you have this kind of an early game, then you're probably just lost. You will see, it looks quite bad even with Mongols. However, it got me 1900, so, it just goes to show that the strategy is so powerful that you can have a bad early game and it will still work out. If you have tier map and you have a good early game, then you might not even have any kind of TC idle time, and with Mongols you can afford to make a spear, for example, if your opponent isn't scouts. And yeah, other than that, so far it's really standard. And after I click up to feudal age, I will have 8 villagers on the wood line. I will have 5 on straggler trees. Those 5 will later on go back to sheep. And these 2, the moment I click up, sometimes if I have a really good Dark Age, even before I click up, I send them forward. because I need the rangers to be in a good position. The number one thing that I use to like position my ranges is berries. However, these berries are not really that easily attackable. But if you get to choose a side, I usually choose the side of the berries. Because if you deny the berries, your opponent has a really hard time in early feudal. As you can see, here I go. And I have the sneak. I was actually a bit late with sending those villagers to stragglers, which leads to some wood issues. Ideally, you would be able to have this house and another one as well building. If you only have 25 maximum population, you're going to get housed. I know from experience. And you can see, I am up. And as far as wood count goes, I am able to afford pretty instant ranges. My opponent is also up, and he's making scouts. And that is not a good opening against this. Not at all. It's actually quite similar to the Dravidian build order I posted. Except we just don't have man-at-arms. We are a bit faster. With Mongols, you could even go 18 no loom. That's the strategy I used to get to 1700. But every once in a while you will run into wolves and you will not have a good time. And as you can see, I'm able to get the blacksmith down. And back home, every new villager will go to gold, but idle time is part of the build at this point. If you have that kind of an early game, idle time is just part of the build. And I'm idling to get fletching, because ideally you have fletching the moment that your first 4 archers move out. Or like not move out, but reach opponent. I was a little late. Because of my wood issues. Because of my inefficient early game. So I think I waited a bit, consciously. And then I go and hit the wood line. 4 archers with fletching. It's 11-10. If you're good, you can hit like a bit faster than 40 than 50. Okay. Meanwhile, back home, I'm not really walling or doing anything like that. I saw scouts, so I res-walled my wood a bit, but as you can see, I'm pretty open. And now you will see why scouts are bad against this, right? My opponent has 4 scouts, I have 6 archers with fletching. It's not gonna be close. Not at all. Yeah, like, he can't engage into it, right? Now, I have taken away this wood line from my opponent. So I thought. Wood starvation is another big part of the build. In this case, my opponent sent like 17 villagers on berries. And so he got them super fast and he didn't have anything on wood. And now he sneaks back. I probably should not have allowed that. What happens normally is that they make another lumber camp like here or here. There is a reason why I sent those villagers here. I thought he was going to have a lumber camp here or something, and I was going to tower it. That's a huge part of the build. Your opponent is on lumber camp, you force them to make a second one, then you tower the second lumber camp, and they have no wood. However, I let him sneak back here with 23 or like 20 villagers. And yeah, as you can see, I still haven't figured out my eco back home. I have some idle time. It's hard, right? It's hard, but it works. I find my opponent's tower. If that happens, what do? I walk around and I tower my opponent. I make sure there isn't a tower fight. You will lose all of those. And In the meanwhile, I attack farms. You kill farms rather quick, and every farm is 60 wood. And keep in mind, your opponent doesn't know what idle time you have. Like, he just sees the massive army. Like, on average, I do better than this. I don't know why I haven't killed a villager. Oh, I'm being attacked. That makes sense. Yeah, like, as you can see, we're taking damage. We're taking a lot of damage. This is, like, you know, pretty bad as far as it goes. But we'll have a tower up. And if we look at our opponent's resources, like, what does he need to deal with 12 12 archers with fletching, arguably 14 and more coming, right? What does he need? He needs a range, 175 wood. He needs blacksmith, 150 wood, and then he needs fletching, armor, which are, you know, 200 food. He has the 50 gold. And then he also needs food to make both villagers and skirms. And it's not easy. Not easy at all. Yeah, I took a lot of damage here. That's normal. I make the tower. It probably should have been one tile further. I wall it in. Always important to wall it in. And yeah, let's look at my opponent's position. This actually happens quite often, that people resign, even though maybe they shouldn't. Right? Is my opponent dead? Well, he has 1 scout on the field, and I have 19 archers. Or I think it's 18, actually. Because I made a spear back home to defend. I can deny pretty much all the farms, and my opponent doesn't have a wood line. And if he wants to find a wood line, he will have to go, like, really far out. I'll always be able to scout it and follow, right? So he's dead. But that doesn't necessarily mean I would, like, perfectly track everything, right? But in theory, he's dead, and he resigned. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is what I did for many, many, many hundreds of games. It's cheesy. If it doesn't work, it looks stupid. However, that is how I climb. So yeah, there we go.